In the Northeast and the South, data shows infection rates have begun to rise, and a small percentage of new pediatric cases have resulted in hospitalization and death. For infants to 4-year-olds, hospitalization rates are currently at one of the highest points of the pandemic. In all, some 12.8 million children have tested positive for the virus since the start of the outbreak. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Here we go. A new investigation is being launched into some electric vehicle batteries. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is taking a closer look at batteries made by LG Energy after 5 different car makers all had to issue recalls. The problem centered on batteries that could cause fires. And then there was one, Kansas winning the men's college basketball title.
When the horn sounded, the Kansas Jayhawks had pulled off a historic come-from-behind win, and the student section erupted.
I'm a senior right now, and it's awesome to come experience such a comeback.
Despite the 72-69 loss, North Carolina fans walked away feeling they had gotten their money's worth as well.
We wasn't supposed to be here, and we almost won, so I'm happy with what we have and what we're going to be building for the future.
Jim Ryan, ABC News, New Orleans.
This is ABC News.
Millions of people use Zoom Phone, the innovative and feature-rich cloud phone system for businesses of any size. Zoom Phone is simple to use, whether you're on a mobile device, desktop, laptop, or desk phone. And because every call is important to your business, Zoom Phone was built with reliability in mind, using geographic redundancy to keep your communications online. Empower your workforce with Zoom Phone. Visit zoom.com/phone system. Zoom, how the world connects.
Make sure you have the rain gear as you leave the house today. We have showers in our forecast later today. Thunderstorms are possible as well. Cloudy skies with a high in the upper 60s to low 70s. Tonight, it's early showers and storms, otherwise cloudy and mild, the low in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, it's back to sunshine, although it will be warm sunshine. The highs could reach the lower 80s, partly to mostly sunny. Another chance for some showers and storms on Thursday. I'm Mike Mays in the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
Currently it's 46 degrees. Looks good out there right now. And if you like rain, it'll look good this afternoon. So be sure you take your umbrellas with you or your rain jacket or just walk out there and get wet. It's going to be a beautiful day in the neighborhood regardless. Warming up to about 70 and then dropping tonight to about 57 with more chances of rain tonight. It's 9:05. This is WCAB Rutherfordton, serving the foothills of the Carolinas.
It's time now for My Great America with Jim and Butch, a conversation about positive things about this great country. And now here are Jim and Butch.
Well, good morning, Butch. Welcome back to the Blue Room.
It is so great to be back, Jim. I feel like, you remember in some of those old Westerns, they would have like a Dr. So-and-so in the medicine show. He would show up with his wagon.
Yes.
And it would be, you want pots and pans? I got pots and pans. You want watches? I got watches.
Yes.
I feel like we got a lot going on here this morning. The first thing I wanted to say, though, because we'll do this throughout the program, is at the Mid-America Truck Show, which I was at last week, 3 days basically of speaking 8 hours a day. We put about 16 episodes of Life by the Mile delivered by FreightWorks there. By the way, if you like inspiring stories of real people, truckers, go to lifebythemile.com, go to the YouTube channel, like it, subscribe, and you're going to hear some incredible stories. But while I was there, Jim, I had a couple of things that happened that I want to share. The first was they had this incredible booth area where they had all of these hats from different companies and places. I brought 10 of them back, and I thought we'd give them away today. So if people want to get a free hat, we've got here like a St. Coben solar energy cap. We've got trucking company caps, all different kinds of caps. We're going to give them away today to listeners of My Great America with Jim and Butch. So if people want to get one of these hats, how do they do it, and where should they call?
Well, I guess they can call a radio station 287-3356, and I have to come by and pick them up, of course, at 191 Whiteside Road. We have 10 there.
We've got 10 here, so
no political hats, all right?
There are no Jim, okay, now we're friends. We've been doing this for a while, more than 150 episodes.
Yes.
You think I've got a Joe Biden hat tucked underneath
I thought
there?
you might have a MAGA hat there.
Okay, no. These are all company hats related to trucking and the like. But if people want to get a hat for free, they have to pick it up here at the station.
Yes.
What number do they call?
287-3356, and let's tell Todd out when he answers the phone you'd like to have one of those caps, and we'll write your name on it so he'll make sure you have one, and we'll hold them as long as...
All different colors.
Yeah.
Here's one for Tate's Bake Shop. I mean, we've got all different colors, all different styles. They're really nice hats, and it's yours for free if you call.
Yeah.
And that number again?
287-3356, and you got everybody loves caps, right?
Yeah.
Everybody loves caps, and you wear those caps, and people wonder, when did you go to that place?
Right.
Curiosity seeker, right?
Well, and you can say I got it as a gift from My Great America with Jim and Butch. So call that number during the program. We'll give them away as long as people call in. Now, Jim, I also wanted to let you know at the Mid-America Truck Show, I had something very interesting that happened. I was there. We had a lot of people coming to the booth. We were doing many interviews with trucking industry experts. It was really phenomenal. I enjoyed it. But at one point, I had a man that walked up to me. He had a black suit on, not suit like formal suit, but, dark pants and dark shirt. And then right on the left side, monogrammed and upsized, was Mr. Motorcoat. And he said to me, "Do you know who I am?" And I thought to myself, I am way in over my head. I don't know anything about trucking logistics. We've got a national podcast, but I'm learning a lot along the way. He said, I said, "No, sir, I don't." He said, "Well, you should. I'm Mr. Motorcoat." And I said, "Well, sir, what is that?" Well, through a set of circumstances, I ended up learning that Motorcoat, Jim, I'm going to sound like a commercial, is an all-purpose spray lubricant that puts WD-40 to shame. That's what he told me. WD-40 cowers in its presence, is what he said. And he was there with grinders and all kinds of things showing how this is just an incredible lubricant. And he became like a friend, and we started talking, and I told him about our radio program, and I said, "Sometime we'll have you call in." He said, "I had a friend that was in radio." I said, "Really?" I said, "What was his name?" He said, "Paul Harvey. He was my next-door neighbor in Oak Park, Illinois." And so over the course of several days, he kept coming over, and I would tell him, "I know who you are. You're Mr. Motorcoat." And we had great conversations, but I told him I was going to bring back to my friend, Jim Bishop, this all-purpose spray. It's supposed to be unbelievable. So, Jim, this is yours. And they're not a sponsor,
no,
but they should be.
They should be.
Yeah, and next time I'll say, "Do you know who?" I'll show him a picture of you. "Do you know who this is?" That's Jim Bishop.
Did he create the formula himself?
No, he didn't, but he has been the official spokesperson for more than 35 years, and he told me stories that when Paul Harvey was getting up in his years, he would come knock on his door and say, "Can you drive me into work?" Because they were both going into Chicago from Oak Park, which is a suburb there west of Chicago. So it was an incredible time, and I've got my Life by the Mile uniform on today, and it's really interesting. I'll go through a Food Mark, a Food Lion, or a Subway, and people will come up and say, "What is that?" And we've got hundreds more subscribers after last week, so it was a wonderful time.
Now, this podcast, how often is it on?
Well, it's on twice a week, and we're actually upping the episodes, doing a lot of short form programs. What was interesting is coming out of the Middle America Truck Show there in Louisville, there was an article that was written on the top 10 trucking and logistics podcasts in the country. And we made that list.
Really?
Yeah, after a short period of time. So God did that. It's His blessing. And like I tell people, we didn't really know what we were doing, but we wanted to be passionate, wanted to tell stories, and the audience is growing, and people are really appreciating the work.
The FreightWorks sponsors the...
Yeah, it's Life by the Mile delivered by FreightWorks. A lot of different trucking stories, industry experts. It's our opportunity to bring trucking and logistics to people that never really knew much about that marketplace. Of course, it's been in the news a whole lot recently with the supply chain issues that we're dealing with, and it's just been wonderful to be able to sort of talk about what some people call America's last cowboys, America's last heroes.
It's great to raise awareness of how important trucking industry is to America, to the economy in America, not only America, but Canada's got a lot of trucking industry as well.
Right. If the truckers in America decided they were going to have a bad day or a bad week within a matter of 3 days, you wouldn't have anything in the grocery stores. We owe a lot. We need them a lot, and so it was a great time to be there. We're going to be going out on the road a little bit more, and I'm getting a hold of taking a trip with a trucker out to the coast and doing some reports and podcasts, sleeping in the cab, and so I'll be calling in for My Great America from a Peterbilt truck at some point.
Next step for you is to take the driving class and go ahead and drive a truck.
Okay, well, whatever God wants, and I mean that. I'm not being loose about it. Now, listen, we got a giveaway, so make sure that you call in. It's real simple. Call the number, and the number again, Jim, is, and these are hats. These are free hats. All you have to do, great hats. I picked them up at the Mid-America Truck Show. All you have to do is what?
Call 287-3356. Tells Todd to save your hat, a cap, and give us your name, and we'll mark it on the hat some way, put a sticker on it so they'll know it's yours, or you can come by and pick out the one you want. There's 10 different kinds, right?
Great, yeah. So descend on WCAB all at once. Jill will be here to smile and shake your hand. You can tell him about things that you want to hear on this program, and just give him a word of encouragement as well. Hey, you know what? I met with Richie Starnes, who's that's the phone that's dinging. We'll just let it ding. I didn't turn it off.
That's all right.
I met with Richie Starnes. He's my friend over at the Daily Courier, and there are going to be some people booing and hissing as I say that. But you know what? He's a great guy. Be praying for him. One of his dogs ran off. And, dogs and pets are like part of the family. But, reading the Daily Courier, I was at this event in Golden Valley. Mm-hmm. And, I was dressed fairly nicely, and as I walked in, I told Tracy here at the station, as I walked in, there was a man with a long beard, and he had he had on overalls, and I thought to myself, Jesus, I want to have a good conversation with him, but I'm very respectful, and Golden Valley and other such places, it's like its own country. and so you want to make sure you're appropriate and speaking the language right. But you know what? They didn't throw me out, and I had good conversations. And you know what? There's salt of the earth, hard-working people up there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I sound like I'm not from around here when I refer to them as up there. But, just a wonderful time. But what was so encouraging is a young African-American gentleman that I'm kind of like a mentor to R.J. Aiken, was featured in the paper, and you know what? He has a tremendous personal story of overcoming in his life, and he's become a leader among young people in our community. He's on the board now at the Isothermal Foundation, and he's a dear friend, and we need to encourage young leaders in our community. We really do, and I guess he's one of the point people behind the candidate forum that we're going to have.
He is, and I think maybe he might be the moderator of that.
Right. So make sure, listen, we say it often, elections are times when people get stirred. Scripture makes it very clear to us that we're to live truly and speak truly. Don't bite hook, line, and sinker on rumors and innuendo and backstabbing and all of that. I've had the opportunity to meet with Corinne, meet with Ted Bell, Theo, to meet with Aaron, and everyone to me has said they want to keep things above the mudslinging. Mm-hmm. And if you're participating in that, just know it's wrong. It's not just a bad choice, it's sin.
And oftentimes it's not the candidate themselves, it's their people who supported them very strongly.
Right.
They're the ones who get out of line sometimes.
Right.
And say things, do things that aren't true or aren't accurate. So the candidates sometimes don't know how to control that kind of thing because they don't necessarily know who's doing it. They just know they got supporters out there from all walks of life, and sometimes they get stirred and cause trouble.
Exactly. And so these reports that we're getting about signs being pulled up and signs being ripped up, don't do that. There's no right way to do the wrong thing. And we need to remember, Jim, it's a salutary exercise for me every single day. Jeremiah 17:9 says, "The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?" That's not a rhetorical question. The only one that knows our hearts truly is God. And that's why we need to pray and say, God, whatever's in me that shouldn't be there, expose it so that I can deal with it. God sees every motive, every thought, and every deed. what we do in the dark is not dark to God at all. And so as we come into this campaign, make sure that you put on the garment of holiness and doing things the right way. And don't fall prey to junior high school behavior, Jim, which can happen even to adults, can it?
That's exactly right. And it doesn't mean we should turn our backs on those things that we know is evil. Those things that's happening. We don't need to turn our backs on it. We just don't need to get caught up in the ugliness of making things up and accusing somebody of something we know is not right.
Exactly. So let's shift gears from talking about the temptation some people have in political seasons and campaigns to be ugly. Let's talk about something beautiful, and that is roadside vegetable and fruit stands.
I love fresh vegetables.
I love fresh vegetables. And Jim, we were reading recently, and it was so interesting. The USDA came out with an interesting study. They said roadside markets are the most direct method of moving produce from farm to consumer. And, our dear friend Liz Roseberry, who used to have the cafe,
love her.
is such she's a county treasurer and an expert on these things. There's been a big move for what they call farm to table, where you have local farms that are supplying things for your local restaurants. The USDA said if a suitable location is available and the operation fits into the farm enterprise, a roadside market provides the operator with a retail outlet. Customers benefit by obtaining produce that is fresh and from the field. And I remember my times at Keystone Farm in the Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton area of Pennsylvania. My uncle had 287 Holstein milking cows, and he told me one time, okay, we've got these big plots of land where we've got vegetables, and if you want to set up a little roadside vegetable stand, which you can, you have no idea how excited, Jim, I was price testing what I just sell 12 ears of corn for. I mean, I had this little marketing thing in me back in my, 11 years old, 12 years old. But to be able to put up a sign, fresh vegetables here, right on that road went by the farm, and to have people you didn't know stop in and to see real paper money and quarters that were coming into my box there, it was absolutely thrilling.
I love fresh vegetables. Locally, I know we have Tony's Produce up the road that does a lot of that, but the Amish community they do a lot of fresh vegetable selling. You go by Amish community, you find in the springtime and summertime, you find all kinds of fresh vegetables that they raise themselves, and it's nothing like it.
There is nothing like it. And of course, up at Tony's, he was going to call. He's probably too busy to do that, Tony. And you know what? I'm going to send you a link to this program. You need to make sure you had a great opportunity here to talk about Tony's. I love going to Tony's. And tell them where it is, by the way.
It's on...
It's on the way to Lake Lure.
Yes, you turn. It used to be Dean's Produce right there as you go at the intersection, but up the road a little ways on the left, Tony's Produce there. He worked for Dean for years and years and years. And when Dean passed on, he took over the business and moved it up the road a little ways. Got a little place there, probably an eighth of a mile.
Okay. Is this an appropriate place for me to use the phrase, it's over yonder?
Over yonder.
It's over yonder. It's over. Well, I go there 1 or 2 times a week, and he has a baker that is in Green Hill that I believe is Mennonite. And she makes incredible little loaves of banana nut bread.
I love it.
And you know what? They're small. And what I found, Jim, is I'm just confessing this, because they're so small. I'll go, well, I'm not overeating, but I'll buy like 4 of them, but it's so great. And you know what? I love okra, and I've learned there are people that don't like okra.
Oh, I can't imagine that.
I even like it when it's kind of boiled and squishy.
I don't like it that way.
Okay, I like it. Okay, well, I'm a serious.
Okay,
well, some people say everything tastes good fried, Jim. Even, down in Alabama every year, they have a roadkill cook-off. Did you know that? Yeah. It's called a roadkill cook-off, where they've got recipes and all of that for how you can take roadkill and make meals out of it. Now, that's a totally different topic. But, what we've also learned, though, going back to fruit and vegetable stands, is on average, according to the USDA, only 14% of American adults consume at least 2 servings of fruit and at least 3 servings of vegetables daily. We're significantly under what we ought to be doing in that. The statistics are even worse for high school students. 32% of them report eating at least 2 fruit servings daily. 13% say they eat at least 3 vegetable servings each day. And so, these roadside stands are a great place for you to go and get all kinds of vegetables that are actually healthier for your life.
You'll be proud of me. I brought an apple to eat when I get off the air today. Brought an apple instead of a cookie. So
you did.
I'm trying to mend my ways.
Okay, well, that apple and the skinny popcorn that you like to, one of the indelible images for me, Jim, is you sitting in that chair out there with a bag of skinny popcorn.
Yes.
Kind of debriefing on your morning and everything that you've had to deal with and address during the day.
What the statistics is that about 90% of Americans don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. And I know a lot of young people, particularly young children, don't much like vegetables. I've learned to appreciate, I don't know if you love this or not, pickled okra. You sort of pickle it out and it's in a sauce. My daughter put me onto that. She loves it, and so she brought me a jar of that pickled okra. And I've been learning to appreciate and love that. I'm a fan of fried okra, of course, but pickled okra, I'm learning to love that as well.
Okay, and all the people that don't like, I know people that don't like okra are saying, what's wrong with the two of them? But I love okra as well. Now, Jim, let's give people a chance again to get a free hat. I came from the Mid-America Truck Show, lots of hats that were there, and if you want to get a free hat, all you have to do is call what number?
287-3356, 287-3356, and Todd or Tracy or Lou or someone will answer the phone, just tell them, save your hat, and then you got to come by and pick it. Let us know who you are so we can put a name on it and claim it, and you got yourself a nice hat. These are nice caps. These aren't cheap hats. These are nice.
No, these are nice hats that are here. Now listen, as we end the program today talking about just a celebration of roadside fruit and vegetable stands, I actually found an article that was written by a dear friend, and she used to write for the Shelby Star. Her name is Becca Sitzes, and this is an article that she wrote on March 22nd, 2022, that falls into this whole area of celebrating this marketplace of roadside stands and the like. So I'm going to read this as our conclusion.
Sure.
And she's a dear friend and a wonderful writer. Karen Owens has loved the outdoors ever since she was a little girl. In a childhood photo, she is pictured playing with a bright red toy barn, a tiny plastic farmer on a tractor at her feet. Maybe she didn't know it then, but it turned out to be an omen of things to come. Always drawn to animals and nature, she is now a farmer, running 9 acres on the outskirts of Falston. Last year, her long-standing dream of owning her own farm came true, and she moved more than 400 miles away from her Maryland home and onto her own land. In the male-dominated agricultural profession, she is an anomaly, even more so as a female pork farmer. On New View Farm, she raises and breeds Coonacoons, a New Zealand pig, for pork, along with heritage turkey, and sells eggs from her free-range chickens. Owens has a solid background to draw from, having worked at 9 different farms over the years in a variety of capacities. She earned a plant sciences degree from the University of Maryland in 2015 and thought she was going to be a plant farmer. She spent several years working on vegetable farms, a vineyard, and with cut flowers. I thought I was going to do plants, she said, and then I got chickens in 2017. I got pigs in 2019, and now I'm a livestock farmer. She currently sells her products based on word of mouth and through her social media pages. The Heart of Ham at New View Farm can be found on Facebook and Instagram. Customers can buy a whole pig and choose how they want it to be processed, but she primarily sells cuts, including pork chops, bacon, roast, and sausage. That will really get going this summer, Owens said. She's working on a website and expects that to be up and running sometime this spring. Owens bought the farm in October and immediately got to work reclaiming the land and barn from the weeds, putting up fences, and creating her dream farm bit by bit. Back in Maryland, she leased land, but the animals were scattered at different locations. Currently, she has 21 pigs, 30 chickens, turkeys, 2 goats, 2 thoroughbred horses, and several dogs. She operates New View Farm on her own through gentle strength, hard work, and a dash of humor. She likes to say that someday she's not sure if she's a pig farmer, a mud farmer, a manure farmer, or a fence farmer. Owens is a woman of many hats, spending her mornings working as a coffee shop manager, afternoons as an agricultural marketing consultant, and every hour in between on her farm. Weekends, you'll find her outside repairing the tin on the barn roof, or spreading wood chips, or you might see her feeding the animals or repairing fences. Owen said one of the greatest challenges as a female farmer is earning the respect of other farmers and people involved in agriculture. She didn't grow up in a farming family or participate in 4-H or FFA, although she wished she did. So, I had to work on other operations and learn from farmers I admired over the last 10 years to really understand how I wanted to farm and what suited me best. She finds support and inspiration from other women. The biggest rewards are meeting other female farmers and entrepreneurs. Overall, it's been a very supportive community. It's nice to reach out when I have questions or need some support through wind, snow, rain, drought. I'm out here making sure all the animals and all of the crops that I'm planting are taken care of. Having someone who understands the responsibilities and hardships can be very comforting. And she goes on to say that she wants to encourage other people to find the joys of farming, which anybody can do. So whether it's a little plot that you have in your backyard, or whether it's remembering again the experience of just going to that local fruit stand and vegetable stand, you're keeping it local, you're supporting things local, and you're also bringing something nutritious into your life, Jim.
Absolutely, that's very important. I like what you said about keeping it local too, because if we can support the local farmers and local gardeners and the local agricultural people and keep it right here at home, the more the better. Now, we get stuff shipped in from a lot of places, but if we can buy from somebody who's raised it right in their backyard or across the garden, I love it.
Well, and you know what? I don't know where Walmart gets their cucumbers, but Tony's cucumbers just taste better. I feel like I'm pretty certain it's coming from local places, and more and more what we're finding, folks, is that we've got to learn the joys of celebrating local community, and one of the treasures that we have are those little fruit stands. And you know what? I have another guideline in my life. Whenever I see young children out selling anything, I'm just going to celebrate their entrepreneurship. They're selling lemonade, and I'm not thirsty. I'm going to get some.
Yes.
And I've told the story sometimes. My son, in particular, was very entrepreneurial when he was young, Samuel. And I'll tell this story as we end. We got a call from the neighbor. He wanted to sell some things, so I gave him a bag of peanuts, and I said, why don't you sell them for 25 cents a handful? And got a call from a neighbor a little bit later that day, and she said, oh, it was so cute that your son came. He was 5. And I said, well, is there a problem? She said, no, there's no problem. He gave a very good sales pitch. The only problem was he was selling us empty shells. He was eating the peanuts. So he's on his way to residency. He graduated from medical school, but early on he was showing all of the stereotypical characteristics of a used car salesman. This is My Great America with Jim and Butch. Make sure you call the number again.
287-3356.
287-3356. Don't let these great hats free go. Call now.
God bless America.
God bless America.
Thank you for joining us for My Great America with Jim and Butch. Join us each Tuesday and Thursday morning at 9:05 for this enlightening program on 100.9 FM and 590 AM. It's My Great America with Jim and Butch.
Make sure you have the rain gear as you leave the house today. We have showers in our forecast later today. Thunderstorms are possible as well. Cloudy skies with a high in the upper 60s to low 70s. Tonight, it's early showers and storms, otherwise cloudy and mild, the low in the mid